Stretched out to the middle. Back to Green.
Broke it up. There's a shot. They score! They score! Bernardo Fords. It's in! Rochester has the lead, and again, it's St. Louis.
Is burning up the nets with goals. Indeed, over the last 4 games, Charlotte has had as many goals as they've had in its young history, and they're coming off a victory last Sunday against Toronto FC2, where they scored a team record 5 goals from 5 different players, no less. That came just after a huge victory over FC Cincinnati here at Ramblewood Soccer Complex, when Independence notched 3 goals. And before that, the August 17th victory against Orlando City B, where the Independence wound up scoring 4. And here tonight, in Charlotte's next to last regular season home game, they will look to knock off the Pittsburgh Riverhounds and further their case for a playoff game here in Charlotte. Charlotte will be in the playoffs. It's just a matter of where they will play in the first round, and Independence would love to have a first round game here in the Queen City. And good evening here from Ramblewood Soccer Complex, and a busy day across the sports landscape. I'm Jeff Hamlin. Very happy to be joined by Patrick Daca once again as Charlotte Independence comes in with 45 points. Right now they are in 4th place in the East, going up against a Pittsburgh team that is 6-15-5. They are tied for last in the Eastern Conference. However, Pittsburgh has won 3 of its last 5 games. Patrick, when you look at Charlotte, during the midseason lull that this team had, when they lost home games against Bethlehem Steel, the New York Red Bulls 2 had a home loss against Wilmington, we talked about how the chances were always there for Charlotte, but they just couldn't quite cash in. Now they're cashing in on those opportunities, and the player that's doing the most is Enzo Martinez.
Yeah, it's always been one of those big points, and we made a big deal of it when we competed in the games. They play really, really well. They play a very good brand of soccer, a very attacking-minded type of soccer. You always felt like the goals were going to come, but they just didn't. In the last 5 games, they scored 14 goals. And all of a sudden, they start just putting the chances away. And that was the biggest missing part in terms of Charlotte Independence getting the results that they needed. But in terms of quality of play, in terms of attacking soccer, they've always been exciting to watch, entertaining to watch. But then it was just always the final product. They seem to be getting it right now.
Absolutely. Charlotte right now with 43 goals. That is tied for 4th in all of USL. As you see, the Novant Health Player Escorts. Novant Health, the official health care provider of Charlotte Independent Soccer. Novant Health, improving the health of our community one person at a time. We mentioned that Charlotte wound up getting 5 against Toronto FC2. The man who got the game-winning goal, Patrick Slogic, is out for this game tonight. He is suspended because of yellow card accumulation. We're going to have a moment of silence here now in remembrance of 9/11. Complex, and will now unveil the Ortho Carolina starting lineups. Ortho Carolina proud to be the presenting sponsor of Charlotte Independence, also the official team physician of Charlotte Independence. Ortho Carolina, you improved. Pittsburgh is coached by a man who has won over 300 college games, Dave Brandt. He came aboard at midseason. Zach Steffen, a loanee from Colorado Crew. In the starting lineup, he'll be between the pipes tonight. Sergio Campbell, Marshall Hollingsworth, Willie Hunt, Zach Boggs. A veteran, Lebo Moloto on the field. Former UNC star Ryan Adelaide also on the field. Kevin Carr also out there for Pittsburgh in his 3rd season in the Steel City. Corey Herzog, the leading scorer on the team. Mike Green, and a new signee, one that has drastically helped the fortunes of Pittsburgh, Siobhan Walsh, who just was named the USL Golden Boot Award winner. He played with a team in Massachusetts during the summer, and he is now playing in USL. This is his 3rd game with Pittsburgh. He'll be in the lineup tonight. He wound up being named the Golden Boot Award winner for Ocean City Nor'easters in Massachusetts, scoring 14 goals in 14 games. Let's take a look at the Charlotte starting lineup tonight, and almost the entire back line intact once again. I say almost because, again, Patrick Slogic suspended for this game after picking up his 5th yellow card on Sunday against Toronto FC2. Joseph Greenspan takes his spot tonight. Bilal Duckett, the team captain. Also, we have Joel Johnson back in after playing several World Cup qualifiers. Henry Kalungi also back in the lineup. First time he has played. June Marcus Davidson, Lewis Hilton, Enzo Martinez, Brian Brown, David Estrada, and Alex Martinez. Jorge Herrera, again, available off the bench. Jan Ekra did start against Toronto FC2 on Sunday. Not in the lineup tonight. Notable also on the bench, Ali Hassan, who scored his first goal with Charlotte Independence, and Roberto Ochoa wound up scoring his first goal on Sunday as well. It was Ochoa, Hassan, along with Alex Martinez and Bilal Duckett, all scoring on Sunday as Charlotte set the franchise record for goals north of the border. So Independence will kick off to start this game, Patrick, and we've seen in various examples how Pittsburgh is a more lethal team, even though they started this season on a 7-game winless streak. Charlotte has to exact its force immediately and let Pittsburgh know that right now they have no time for a team that's just playing to be a spoiler.
Right, yes. And talking about the Pittsburgh team, there's a kid, there's a player right there in the midfield, Lebo Moloto. Last time these two teams met, he gave Charlotte Eagles a lot to think about, a lot of work in the midfield. And he's starting in there, and you look at him, Pittsburgh will look for him as well to be as creative as he was in running through the seams. So, yeah, Pittsburgh is going to be, they have no pressure. they're coming in as the underdogs. They have nothing else to fight for other than just spoil the party for Charlotte.
Again, Pittsburgh is tied for last, but they're playing their best soccer of the season coming into this game. They defeated Orlando City B last week, and we brought up Siobhan Walsh, the rookie. He scored the game-winning goal for Pittsburgh in that game. Joel Johnson, some nifty passing right off the bat here with David Estrada to the far end. Good crossover by Estrada. He'll put it in the box looking for Martinez and head it away. Charlotte immediately winds up with a quarter within the first minute of the game.
Yeah, it's a bright start for Charlotte. Put Pittsburgh on the back heel right from the beginning. It shows their intent. But as we were talking, he was writing a few notes about the key players for Charlotte throughout the season, and Joe Johnson came into his own as the season progressed, and his experience started to show. He's been a big part of how Charlotte attacks. Brian Brown has also started putting the balls in.
And that curved ball that was sent in very nicely by Lewis Hilton was captured by Zach Steffen.
Yeah, and Lewis Hilton is another guy that has come in and stepped in for Yanni Ekra, and he's done a fantastic job in midfield. He's full of running, a lot of hard work, just plays within his means and doesn't try to do more than he knows he can, but he's very effective.
Zach Boggs, who has quite a life for himself, prepared after soccer. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. Alex Martinez. Boggs was nominated to be a Rhodes Scholar and received a Fulbright scholarship to study medicine at the University of Leicester in England. And I imagine he might check out some Premier League soccer matches while he'll be in Leicester, though if he is a Leicester fan, he may not have liked the results today with Liverpool knocking off the defending Premier League champions.
Yeah, some interesting results today from the English Premiership, but Liverpool will be a good team to watch, an exciting team to watch. Leicester, they had their good run last year. It's going to be tough this year because everybody now knows how they play.
That's right, but they still have the Champions League.
They're
Ball was chipped in momentarily, but sent out of danger by Davidson. Here's Brian Brown. David Estrada also scored last week for Charlotte against Toronto FC2, adding his name to the list of players who wound up getting to go against the Reds. Pittsburgh has been eliminated from playoff contention. Charlotte in the playoffs. 7 of the 8 teams in the Eastern Conference have clinched playoff berths. The question now is who will be that 8th team? It looks like it's either going to be Orlando City B or the Wilmington Hammerheads. Sorry to interrupt you, Patrick.
No, that's fine. I was just going to talk about the way Charlotte have decided to line up here with Alex Martinez and Enzo Martinez on the field at the same time. You have 2 creative players, brothers, that are very diminutive, very skillful. Then you have David Estrada on the other flank. So now you have 3 players that can dice you up. And then with Brown Blind with his running and his stretching the defense, it's a very attacking-minded lineup.
That's exactly what Mike Jeffries wants here, and it's why Charlotte has done so well this season. Keep in mind, this team didn't win its first road game, as that pass by the latest member of Charlotte Independence, Joseph Greenspan, overshoots his target. Charlotte didn't have its first road win last season until August when they won at Montreal. After the win at Toronto on Sunday, Charlotte on the road this season is now 5-3-5. They won their very first road game against the team that wound up winning the USL regular season championship, the New York Red Bulls 2. They will be the top seed in the East. Duckett sends that ball away, and it's interesting that Bilal having play a little further out on the flank instead of his standard center back position over along the left end. Willie Green looking for Lebo Moloto. And now Green sends one behind the net. John Berner between the pipes tonight for Charlotte. He was momentarily called up by the Colorado Rapids. He joined the team in MLS last week, was on the 18 for Colorado's match, but now has returned to Charlotte. Cody Mazzell wound up getting the start and the victory. It was impressive that Charlotte wound up getting the wins over Cincinnati and over the Toronto FC2 squad, even though their back line was far from intact. We mentioned that Joel Johnson was out. Nice long ball play here. Greenspan put to the test with Kerr lurking, but Greenspan, the Naval Academy graduate, sends it away.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit more communication there would have helped Greenspan. I think he thought he had time, but until he realized there was footsteps behind him.
Here's Hilton with the strip. Then he collides, and it's going to be a foul called. Hilton taking off on a run up the field. Looks like he collided with Adelaide. Adelaide, a former UNC star, who went on to play professionally in Israel. And this is his first season back in America. Actually, it's his second season. Had a brief stint with Fort Lauderdale, but got injured his very first game. Joel Johnson trots in the box, leaves it for Brown. That one was knocked away at the last moment.
How many times? Sorry.
Sergio Campbell was the man who knocked it away.
How many times have we seen Joe Johnson do this throughout the season? He's part of the attacking. Every time Independents are in attack, he's in the box, in the final third, trying to serve crosses in. This is going to be a test for Kalungi. Kalungi playing more on the left side, kind of his weaker foot and natural foot. So for Joey Johnson playing on his right foot, he can put crosses in. Kalungi probably be more defensive minded, seeing that left foot is not his forte.
That's right. Johnson having to be the attacking back here tonight. No real attacking on the left side because of Slodge's suspension. Here's Johnson looking for Martinez. Alex gets a chest down.
Oh.
And he couldn't quite knock it in, but it was deflected out. And our official tonight, Patrick Schmidt, orders a corner.
Yeah, caught a deflection there. Did very well to bring the ball down. Couldn't see it until it got over the defender's head. But I think, did he have time to go in and attack it one time? He did the right thing. It's just his first touch went up too high than he wanted.
You see Lewis Hilton about to take the corner here. Charlotte lines up Jumarcus Davison, Brian Brown. Here's Duckett coming three. That ball free in the 6, and then it's cleared out by Kerr. Joel Johnson will wait it at midfield. Charlotte only one loss since the disappointing loss to the New York Red Bulls 2 back on July 16th, 2-1. Since then, Charlotte has only lost to Charleston in a span of 9 games.
And they're playing with a lot of confidence too. This is a team now that has grown to know each other. They're playing with a little bit more chemistry. You can tell when they're on the field, they enjoy being around one another. So it helps when you have a team that likes one another and enjoy being around one another. The wins, obviously, and the playing well also helps. Absolutely.
And there's some anticipation now. Crowd's growing a little bit more here, and it's a fun time to be in Charlotte as Greenspan. And for him, he can look on the sidelines and see a familiar sight. His former college coach is coaching Pittsburgh. Greenspan, the center back for Charlotte. And the man on the sidelines is Dave Brandt, who coached at Navy. He spent 7 years in Annapolis, the head man of the midshipmen. He also coached at Division III Messiah in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. He was the fastest coach in NCAA men's soccer history to win 200 games. And he came aboard in May after Mark Steffens was fired on May 21st. We mentioned that Pittsburgh lost their first 7. Estrada making a run. Flag stays down, but that attempt is ruined by Steffen. And what seemed to break the back of Mark Steffens' run as the head coach of Pittsburgh was the fact that they lost in the U.S. Open Cup to Lansdowne Boys, a semi-pro team out of New York in the first round. After that, Pittsburgh actually won its first game against Toronto FC2, and the following day it was announced that Steffens had been fired as coach. Of course, that touches a note for you, Patrick, because you played under Mark Steffens here with the Charlotte Eagles.
Yeah, for several years, and I also got my assistant coaching under him as well. So I learned a lot from the man. So a lot of respect for him. He's done a lot of good things for soccer in Charlotte. So yeah, you never want to see a coach get fired.
The timing was surprising, not just because Pittsburgh was coming off its first win, but they also made the playoffs last season. They lost to the New York Red Bulls 2 in the first round. Charlotte, again, in the attacking third. Ball tapped in for Brown. That was sent away by Campbell and out. Estrada will field it in. Get in the game through the USL social media channels. Follow the USL on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram, as well as their YouTube channel for news, live game updates, Video highlights from all around the league as well as games. We have lots of games going on tonight, and there'll be more coming up tomorrow. Lebo Moloto, who Patrick mentioned earlier.
He's been deployed deeper in midfield than where he normally plays. He's an attacking-minded player, but I think coach is looking for possession in midfield.
Campbell waded his big body through and banged down a player. Moloto plays it along to the far end to Marshall Hollingsworth, the young man from Wheaton College, another Division III school. One touch by Corey Herzog, who has 12 goals, which is good enough for 5th in USL. And the corkscrew by William Hunt sends it away. William Hunt, in his 6th season from Francis Marion, also have former college teammates on opposing sides tonight. Lebo Moloto played at Lindsey Wilson. Ball chipped in. Opportunity here, and the ball headed out. It was sent in deep as Michael Green had an opportunity at that one, but couldn't get squared up toward the net. We talked about Lebo Moloto. He played with Lewis Hilton over at Young Cares, which is one of the more powerful lower level soccer programs in the country.
He's an exciting player to watch. Right now he and Michael Green kind of swapping positions. One goes up and the other one stays deeper. Whenever Lego goes higher, sorry, not Michael Green. I'm talking about Ryan Adelaide. He drops deeper.
Corey Herzog chases down a ball in the corner. Good touch on Kalungi. Enzo Martinez tries to catch up with it. Can't. This is Boggs away to Moloto, who was fouled and was visibly unhappy with Enzo Martinez at the way he was tugged. And Patrick Schmidt is going to walk over and have words for both men. Charlotte comes in with an 8-4-1 mark. They have one more home game after this one, and that will be next Saturday as they'll go up against the Rochester Rhinos. The Wednesday match against Richmond is proving to be a pivotal one in regards to Charlotte's chances of getting a first-round home playoff game. That will be Charlotte's only visit, at least for now, in City Stadium in Richmond. There might be another one in the postseason. We'll just have to see how things shake out. Richmond tonight enters play 1 point behind Charlotte for that precious 4th playoff spot, which guarantees a home playoff game. There's Boggs, who's unable to handle the one return pass from Corey Herzog, who played at Penn State, and Corey was probably a little bit in agony today. Somewhat ironic that he's suiting up for Pittsburgh tonight, since Penn State and Pittsburgh played American football today for the first time in 16 years, and Pittsburgh wound up getting the victory over the Nittany Lions. Long run here by Estrada on the diagonal pass that he can't retrieve. Charlotte will have Richmond, Rochester next week, and they will wrap up the regular season the way their season started at Louisville City. Charlotte has a slim chance of catching Louisville City for the 2nd playoff spot, but that one's still up for grabs. However, the New York Red Bulls too have won the regular season championship in the entire USL, not just the Eastern Conference. We talked about Adelaide. He provides the ball forward. Walsh now sends it out. Danger here for Zach Boggs. Now from distance, Moloto sends one in the air. Burner will field it just outside the 6. Charlotte with the 5 goals we talked about against Toronto. And of course here 10 days ago they defeated FC Cincinnati on a late free kick by Jorge Herrera that went off the head of Paul Nicholson. Now here's a dangerous ball. Kalungi on a return pass. Burner had to go back before something disaster happened there. And after that, Charlotte wound up watching FC Cincinnati win another game. Charlotte enters tonight 1 point behind Cincinnati for 3rd. That's why tonight is important. Bilal Duckett a little further up the field than we're used to seeing him. Estrada comes in as he pressures Hollingsworth. Up comes Joel Johnson. Hollingsworth dueling with him. Kept in by Estrada. Plays it back to Enzo Martinez, who had the brace against FC Cincinnati. Joel Johnson, back from World Cup play, played in Africa last week. Was not here for the FC Cincinnati or Toronto games. Kalungi has missed the last 3 games after suffering an injury against Charleston. Now Martinez goes into the box. Boggs chips it away. Boggs tries to maintain possession. It's deep in the corner. Brian Brown. You don't want Brian there. Dangerous ball in the corner. Estrada.
A little tag on the shirt there. In the Premiership, they've been clamping down on the tags on the shirt in the box. You saw today Arsenal play Southampton, and Jose Fonte just pulled a little shirt on Giroud, and they got a PK in the dying minutes of the game.
Oh, so that's how they got the penalty. I didn't see. I knew they got a penalty. I didn't know they got it that way.
That's how they got the penalty.
Here's Walsh back the other way. He's looking for Herzog. Herzog tried to go through the legs of John Berner, but John was having none of it. Herzog bidding for his 13th goal of the season. Young man who is tied for 3rd in USL in points with 28. Left Penn State during his senior season to join MLS. Wound up getting drafted 13th overall by the New York Red Bulls. Now playing with Pittsburgh. Here's Campbell from distance. Chips ball in that he didn't get very much of.
Little speculative there. I don't think Brenner was that far off his goal line for that attempt.
Hilton looking for Enzo Martinez, who's making one run after another down the left flank and just is unable to get the delivery that he so desires. If you need a ride, download the YC mobile app and use promo code Independence for $15 off your first ride. Yellow Cab of Charlotte is the official transportation provider of Charlotte Independence Soccer. And what has been an active week across the Charlotte sports scene, the Charlotte Knights having a chance of making the playoffs on Monday, falling just short against the Gwinnett Braves for the International League South Division Championship. The Carolina Panthers in a controversial loss to the Denver Broncos on Thursday, and Independence wrapping up the day here. Henry Kalungi actually jumping over Herzog. Foul whistled, and Mike Jeffries was none too happy about it. Independence was aggressive early, but Pittsburgh once again with some newfound confidence here in the waning moments of the season. After this one, Pittsburgh will have only 3 games remaining, and even though they're tied right now with Toronto for last in the East, they are still a team that's won 3 of its last 5. Marcus Davidson sends the ball out of trouble there. Now we have a whistle off the ball.
I think what Charlotte is struggling with right now is the movement of the attacking core of Pittsburgh. You see Kevin Kerr on the left side, and then Michael Green on the right side. Then you see Michael Green on the left side and Kevin Kerr on the right side again. So they're always interchanging. You see Lebo Moloto a little bit higher in midfield. Then you see him drop deep again, finding the seams. But they're also playing a traditional 1-4-4-2 formation, which leaves Corey Herzog alongside Chevron Walsh up top. And that can cause problems for the 2 center backs, because normally you have 1 center forward to deal with, but now you have 2. How are you going to handle that situation with 2 center forwards?
And that is what Walsh's presence really does to opposing teams. Now here's Carr back the other way on a step over. 1v1 on Duckett, but Bilal sends it over the touchline far end. And Walsh is not only someone who is a new body, but he is a big body in there.
Yeah, he's a big fellow. And then you see Corey Herzog sometimes comes back in between the seams, between the defenders and the central midfielders, the holding midfielders, between June Marquez and the center back line. So he's always finding that space where he is dangerous. He's not too far enough from Chevron, but he's also not too deep to be of help in midfield.
Moloto supplying some danger here. Walsh winds up coming in, and he wins the ball to the near side. Tried to play it up for Carr, but that was nicely disrupted by Marcus Davidson.
Yeah, and the coach likes that.
June had to come up big there. June more of the defensive midfielder, but we've seen him play a little further upfield, trying to get involved offensively. Now Moloto trying to supply it for Kerr. That is nullified by Joel Johnson.
Yeah, once you score your first goal with your header, you want to score more goals, right? Right now you got 3 goals.
He had one against the New York Red Bulls too, and another against Bethlehem Steel that appeared to be the game winner up at Lehigh University, but ultimately the Steel would get a late penalty and come away with a 2-2 tie. Nike, a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike soccer information. Jeff Hamlin, Patrick Daka here with you on another human night in Charlotte. Nicely done by Lewis Hilton on the takeaway, stripping Sergio Campbell. A chip ahead looking for David Estrada. Estrada matched up against Marshall Hollingsworth. Nicely done there by Hollingsworth. Hilton tries to deny him, but over it goes to Lebo Malota. We'll see Stephen Akai also come into this game, potentially as a reserve. He's on the 18. Another player who's a veteran Pittsburgh Riverhound.
Yeah, and someone Charlotte knows very well, having played here before with the Charlotte Eagles.
Nicely done by Zach Boggs. Brown comes up from behind, strips the ball away. Enzo Martinez is forward. To the right, it's Alex Martinez. Brown opts for Enzo in a 1v1 as he steps outside on Campbell, and Campbell sends it away. The native of Jamaica, who played his college soccer at Connecticut and was actually picked by Columbus in the 2015 MSL Super Draft in the first round.
Enzo Martinez drives down the line. He looks up, but the only blue figure he sees in there is Brown and Alex Martinez and the back post, and everybody else just outside the box and about a sea of yellow shirts. That makes it very difficult for a player to decide whether they should put the cross in or hold the ball up a little bit more. I think he's waiting for more runs into the box.
Absolutely. Brian Brown thought he had drawn a corner as he was triple teamed along the end line, but the officials say that it is going to be a goal kick for that man, Zach Steffen, in his second professional season, who played overseas. Also played with Maryland. He's coming off his very first clean sheet against Orlando City B last weekend in Melbourne, Florida. Chip in the air. Herzog is to the far end. Herzog with a shove at the back of Duckett. Over to aid him, Johnson. Keeps it back up the field. This is William Hunt. Hollingsworth. Dangerous ball that Campbell steps in front of Estrada to avoid disaster.
Yeah, the game is too open right now, too wide, too spread out. Players are not closing the gaps quickly.
Nice.
I think the humidity has something to do with it.
Good ball here. Martinez to Martinez. It's Enzo to Alex. And is that going to lead to a corner? It will.
It's a corner kick, but then again, you see in the box, you have 4, 5 yellows and 2 blues. David Estrada in the back post with Brian in the box. If that cross comes in, chances are Pittsburgh wins that battle.
Yep, but Charlotte winds up taking it. Chip in the box here. Hilton looks for Estrada, who's pulled down. And then coming up for the ball is Steffen. No flag, rather no whistle made. And Charlotte is going to wind up retreating down the field to prepare for this kick by Steffen. The Riverhounds have had problems putting the ball in the net. They have only 30 goals this season. That is tied for 24th in the 2019 USL. Speaking of the entire league, in the Western Conference last night, Rio Grande Valley clinched a playoff berth in their first year in the league. Hilton with an interception. Malota blocks the pass. Lewis stays with it. Now it's Enzo Martinez. On a humid night, temperatures at game time at 82 degrees, but on the turf it felt like it was 90. One of these days summer is going to go away. Just not yet here in North Carolina.
No.
Usually this is about the time we get the fall chill in the air. Martinez with some danger. Slide put down by Hollingsworth, and it will be the 4th Charlotte corner in the game already.
And I know the players are just waiting for those temperatures to just drop a tad bit.
Well, that's usually the time when playoff season is here, and for Charlotte there will be some playoff soccer in its second season after missing out on the playoffs last year by 1 point.
You have to say that they deserved it this year. They worked hard for it. They did some great things. Coach Mike didn't change a thing of what he was doing. They kept on hammering, And we kept talking about the final product, and I think they worked on it, and all of a sudden goals start flowering in.
Ball supplied in there, but it was headed out by Corey Herzog. Greenspan tried to add on and supply more pressure. Ultimately, it didn't work out. Lebo Moloto, the former Charlotte Eagle, off to the right for Zach Boggs. Pittsburgh again trying to stretch things out a little more laterally from sideline to sideline. As Patrick mentioned earlier, here's Campbell with a diagonal pass, Kerr on the volley, and Burner with the save.
That's a difficult technique, but he handled it pretty well. There, first time shot from a diagonal cross out of the air in a first time volley. Very good, very impressive.
Kevin Kerr, the West Germany native who started his pro career in Bundesliga 2 and eventually migrated here to the United States. This is his third season in Pittsburgh. Had a sensational year 2 years ago and was very good last year as well, where he scored a career high 10 goals and 9 assists for Pittsburgh. Came to Charlotte twice, as a matter of fact. Once here at Ramblewood Soccer Complex late in the season, and the first time back when Charlotte was playing in Rock Hill, South Carolina at Winthrop University. Alex Martinez pushed off the ball, maintains possession. Duckett to Brown. And out. Sent away by Willie Hunt. See Martinez go down there. No whistle. Now here comes Alex Martinez. That one went off the body of Hunt. Enzo Martinez is still down. Sliding attempt by Davidson keeps the ball alive. Martinez supply, got a whistle, and a push is going to be called against Alex Martinez.
I can't tell who's who from here. They walk the same, they run the same,
yeah, they
play the same.
They have a lot of similarities. If you just look at them from side to side, Alex and Enzo Martinez are who we're talking about here. The old expression, you can't tell a player without a program, and even if you see them, sometimes it's hard to tell exactly who's Enzo and who's Alex.
Exactly.
It's Enzo who's wearing 19, Alex is wearing 23. In fact, they're side by side. Momentarily they were, in fact, and it was Enzo who created a turnover that Brian Brown will try to cash in. Alex has the ball right now. Hilton mounts a charge looking for the ball. That's nullified by Sergio Campbell.
Well, that's a tough ball to deal with.
Independence having to be a little more patient here tonight after unleashing a torrent of goals as that pass looking for Kalungi went into the Pittsburgh bench.
Yeah, the idea is good, just overhit it a little bit. As you may say, he caught it too well.
Caught it too well.
Yeah.
Not well enough or something of that nature.
Yeah.
There's Alex Martinez.
I don't think Brown was ready for it.
Nope. And this is Michael Green and a giveaway. Alex Martinez moving out to the right against Hollingsworth. Brian Brown. Seems like the offense, once Charlotte gets into the attacking third, almost runs through Brown as he's the one in charge of getting that entry pass and making something happen.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh are doing a fantastic job of closing down the seams, so the runners are not having, the passers are not having the spaces to pass the ball into, or the seams that they want to use. Normally when they play teams, they find spaces where they can run through defenders. Today, Pittsburgh is a little bit more organized in defensively.
A little bit of a chess match going on. You talked, Patrick, about how forwards for Pittsburgh are flipping in. Charlotte has responded by flipping Estrada to the left end of the field, while Brian Brown's moving now toward the right end.
Yeah, it keeps defenders guessing. It keeps defenders not sure what to deal with. You get used to one attacker, and then all of a sudden there's a different type of an attacker coming in.
Herzog with an entry into the box. Duckett will escort it out. And he'll go over the end line for a throw. Charlotte, with a win here tonight, will jump up to third place, depending on what happens with FC Cincinnati and with Richmond. If Charlotte wins, Richmond cannot catch Charlotte tonight, regardless of how their game turns out. Kalungi, and we have a whistle sounded by Patrick Schmidt, infraction against Independence. You can keep up to date, fans, with the USL all season long by visiting the new USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL. That's USLsoccer.com. And as we go into the fall, that's going to be something that a lot of people will keep up with here because there'll be some scoreboard watching for Independence fans. This is Herzog to Lebo Moloto. Herzog now with some room. Hilton catches up to him. Moloto. Carr making a run to the left, almost calling for the ball, but nothing doing. I don't think Herzog saw him. Herzog. Estrada.
One thing Coach Mike Jeffries might be thinking about is we've played 31 minutes now, and Pittsburgh has taken 2 shots. Burner had to make a couple saves, but Zach has had to make any save yet. He's yet to make any save yet.
Charlotte hasn't been as aggressive. We were talking about Richmond. They're playing Louisville City tonight. And Charleston Battery, who, for whatever reason, just cannot get over the wall against FC Montreal. They're taking on Bethlehem Steel. Earlier this week, FC Montreal completed a season sweep against the Charleston Battery. What has to be among the more curious results this season in USL. In fact, in 4 lifetime matches, FC Montreal has defeated Charleston 3 times now.
That's mental block.
Must be. It's very strange.
You always have your bogey sides, you know, when you play. It's just that one team you cannot beat, regardless of what you do.
Montreal has managed to win 7 games now after another dreadful start this season, just as was the case their first season. Estrada with a touch in the air. Leaning over it was Adelaide. I got it over to Herzog. Davidson up the field. Brown winds up in a tangle up with Campbell and a foul on Pittsburgh. Sergio Campbell was actually the center of a dispute between his Jamaican club team, Portmore United, and Columbus. Tell you more about that in a moment. First of all, Martinez to the far end. This is Alex. Trying to move in on Hollingsworth. Nicely done by Marshall. Ball cleared away by Hunt.
He was trying to create just a little room to put a service in there, but maybe that serve could have come in a little bit sooner. This time they had numbers in the box.
Campbell was drafted, but Portmore United wanted compensation for his training purposes, and ultimately he wound up in America. He is on loan from Columbus. This year, Pittsburgh starting up a partnership with Columbus Crew of MLS, Columbus Crew Soccer Club, as they're now known, who went from winning the Eastern Conference and hosting MLS Cup last year to now being below the red line in MLS right now. Several teams, in fact, who have been regulars in playoff play on the outside looking in of the MLS playoff picture right now, namely the Seattle Sounders. Hilton, nicely done to Estrada. Brown trying to create something in the box now. Brown with danger. Estrada, Brown! And nicely done by Steffen, who didn't have to move very much in order to field that one.
Good hold up play and good interchange for possession in there in the box and to create a shot. But that's the first shot in 34 minutes of game time.
Shot on net, that's right. Couple of chances from far out, but nothing especially threatening. Patrick Schmid, the referee, signals a foul as the ball was in the air. June Marcus Davidson drew it. And up the field, Enzo Martinez. He's got Alex to his right, and that's who's got it now. Martinez pulls it back. Joel Johnson.
Yeah, Joel not as adventurous as he has been in the first. Oof.
And then Martinez supplies one on net. Campbell nearly got that one with his head, but fortunately for him, Steffen was there to handle what turned out to be a line drive. We're in the 35th minute here. Charlotte and its goalkeeper, John Burner, had 2 early saves. Burner returning in net tonight after missing last week's action as he was called up to Colorado. Here's Hunt trying to keep Charlotte from getting another corner, and the ball went over the end line. And the assistant to the far end, Austin Tucker, honors a goal kick.
In those situations, they are not referees always protect the defenders, but unless if Alex had his hands are wrapped around the defender, I don't know how that call came out to be. It looked like he was actually pushed as he was trying to get around the defender.
In the 36th minute, as Steffen sends it up the field and straight out of play. What's been an active day on the sports scene, a thrilling Manchester derby started the day with Manchester City winning at Man United. Used to be a precious victory that all the City fans would cherish for years and years because it so rarely happened. Now it's become almost old hat.
The noisy neighbors got away with one today. Call it.
Some thrilling. That was really one of the best Premier League games. That's certainly going to be the Premier League match of the day. And if you watch NBC Sports Network later on tonight, you'll see it replayed. Believe me, it's worth your time. Columbus on an overlap. This is Brown. Speaking of Henry, he's got the ball now. It's unusual to see Henry in an attacking situation. Brown supplies it in the 6. That's cut off by Campbell. Oof. And given away. Estrada looking for Martinez. Sliding attempt to clear it made by Green. He succeeds. Siobhan Walsh and another giveaway.
There's a lot of giveaways going on right now. Fatigue.
In the attacking third, no less.
Yes.
And then Brown as
just a little lack of concentration.
This is Kalungi. Again, Patrick Slogic suspended for this game because of yellow card accumulation. He picked up his 5th on Sunday in the victory over Toronto FC 2, the game where he wound up scoring the opener. Joel Johnson, nice work. Left-footed spot for Brown.
Gotta be in. That's a goal.
And at long last, Joel Johnson has an assist that he's been on the verge of getting seemingly all season. Brian Brown scores his 8th of the year.
Yeah, we talked about a couple of minutes ago, Joe Johnson not getting involved as much in the attack, and they maybe heard us. Then he's made his run, put a great cross. It was very inviting to the back post. But then again, we talked about Charlotte started putting shots on target in the 34th minute. 3 minutes later, they get a goal.
Just attack. And Charlotte had a quality service there from Joel Johnson, who gets his first point in a Charlotte uniform. Brian Brown scores his 8th goal of the year. And that is 2nd on the team.
Yeah, it's a great header, too. He nodded the ball down, not in the air. Keeper had no chance.
Charlotte has been finishing so exquisitely as of late. And it leads to the opener here in the 38th minute, with Independence now holding a 1-0 lead. Hunt will try to retaliate. Duckett. And then Herzog goes down quite easily outside of the box looking for something.
Yeah, ref saw that as well. Didn't blow his whistle. Just get up and get on with the game.
In zone.
And there's the Joe again we were talking about earlier.
Here's Joel Johnson. Hollingsworth has to make a fine sliding challenge and clears it away.
Now he's got 100 yards to go back.
Joel has been attacking down that right side. And it's still about 85 degrees on the pitch even now as we're just over 8 o'clock. You see Joel Johnson getting the assist there. The goal goes to Brian Brown.
When Joe gets involved in the attack, the Independents look dangerous on the right flank. Right now they're missing Slogic on the left side. Obviously Kalungi is a right-footed player, so he's not very comfortable going forward and putting services in the box with his left foot. But eventually, once in a while you will see him cross into that final third. But he's not going to have the effect that Joe will have on the right flank or Patrick Slogic will have on the left flank if he was on the field.
Brown tapped it over. Martinez goes down outside the box. One thing that is a priority for Charlotte the rest of this game is not to have Brian Brown or Bilal Duckett pick up a yellow card, because that will mean a 1-game suspension. And Wednesday's game at Richmond is shaping up to be perhaps the biggest of the year. That could determine whether Charlotte will host a first-round playoff game and perhaps have a chance for second. Again, a service in for Brown, and Steffen had to make a dive for it. This time it was Lewis Hilton coming in.
Yeah, it was a tricky ball bouncing right in front of the goalkeeper. He had to keep his focus on it, keep his eyes on the ball.
Charlotte has dominated the last 10 minutes of this contest.
Yeah, 10 minutes, 1 goal. Not a bad return at all.
Enzo again making a run. This is Alex Martinez in a 1v1. He's got Hunt squared up, sends it away. Enzo Martinez.
Big heavy touch, and I think he got a knock in the head.
Sergio Campbell wound up getting him. Patrick Schmid, the referee, has come over. Let's see what he's ruled here. Enzo Martinez still down.
I think on the follow through there, Ryan Adelaide just kicked through the ball. Sorry, not Ryan Adelaide. Talking about Sergio Campbell.
Yep.
Kicked through him. I think it got him in the head.
No foul called, obviously, because if it was a foul, it would have been a penalty. Patrick Schmid came in as the ball was sent over the end line. Charlotte will have a throw. The goal coming from Brian Brown on an assist from Joel Johnson in his return to the Charlotte lineup. It's Joel's first assist of the season, but he's had so many other chances that weren't cashed in. That one was perfectly done. Speaking of which, Martinez in for Alex. And what a save by Steffen. That was a marvelous stop. Alex Martinez can't believe it.
And all of a sudden, Charlotte decided to put shots on target, crosses in the box, getting runners inside the box. They look more dangerous now.
A dive to his right by Steffen. That was a stellar save. Now quickly back the other way. Walsh, who's been quiet tonight. Chevy Walsh sends a desperation ball. Oh, Walsh hasn't had very many touches, and against Orlando City B, he was getting touches almost at will. You get the feeling there he wanted to force something.
Yeah, Joseph and Bilal have him shepherded there today. On this shot here was off balance, tried to put it on his weaker foot, tried to force the shot in, but it just dug under it too deep, and he didn't have the angle for it.
In the background, you could see the Jamaican flag up. And of course, that's sent up by members of Jack's Militia in salute to Brian Brown, who is from Jamaica, who played with Indy 11 last season of the North American Soccer League, which is a league that's had plenty of interesting news over the last week or two regarding several of its teams, namely the Ottawa Fury, which, according to various rumors, was a foul drawn by Enzo Martinez. Spikes got up high for Adelaide.
That was a high boot into the shoulder. I think he's going to feel it for a while. And you see Bilal there getting in the ref's face, because that is a yellow card.
Martinez still holding his arm. Bilal has to watch himself here again. He's got 4 yellows, and Charlotte needs its back line intact for that game Wednesday against Richmond. Charlotte hasn't had its standard 4-back line of Duckett, Kalungi, Johnson, and Slogic together since the victory over Orlando. That was back on August 20th. Actually, that was before that. They haven't had it since the yeah, that's right. I was correct, actually, the first time. And you see 33 coming off the field. That's Adelaide, a young man who played at UNC.
Yeah,
and was once named the ACC Player of the Week after he scored a goal against Duke.
Delay's got a little scab there, blood showing. Ref tells him to go get that wrapped up.
Talking about the Ottawa Fury, there are now rumors that they are ready to jump to USL. Along with the ongoing hilarity that is the Heyo OKC team in the NASL, which right now doesn't have a turf to play on, at least at last word. And they have a game coming up tomorrow, but there's been a lot of cost-cutting measures, and you can just go on Twitter and read all about that yourselves, folks, because I won't have enough time in this broadcast remaining to tell you all the things that have been going on with that team. The fact they even had a team there to begin with was strange, considering that the Oklahoma City Energy of USL had such a successful first season and is having a successful one now.
All right.
Duckett away to Hilton. Now Brown will set it up for Enzo Martinez. Alex is outside on the right. Instead, Enzo opts for Hilton. Now Alex on the right side. Charlotte very crisp in their passing here. After a lull midway through this first half, a knockaway. Martinez approaches the end line, comes in, and a gorgeous header and a goal that came out of nowhere from David Estrada. Oh, what a magnificent service. A fantastic sequence. Dive by the sword.
That ball came too fast, too quick. I didn't even see it. I think it was a toe by Alex Martinez.
It was Martinez to Estrada.
Yeah, and Estrada was on the right spot at the right time, just put his head behind the ball, and that was it. The sheer pace of the ball, of the service, just beat the goalkeeper near post. He had no chance, couldn't react.
And all of that created by Alex Martinez just as we reach the 45th minute. And David Estrada, his second goal in 2 games, his 5th of the year.
Yeah, it took Charlotte long enough to get going, but once they started going, the goals are starting to flow in as well. 2-headed goals in, one from the smallest guy on the field.
And Alex Martinez, boy, that was just fantastic. The way he set that up, continued after a loose ball. We have 2 minutes of added time here, but Charlotte has put up a pair on the board here in the last 10 minutes, and the flags are waving on the south end zone, and Charlotte looking for more.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a swagger the way they're playing now, Charlotte. The last few games, they play with a little bit of a swagger, a little bit of an identity. You watch them play, you enjoy watching them play because they enjoy being on the field.
And David Estrada, who played at UCLA, UCLA's top scorer his freshman year as a walk-on. Now,
that tells you if you don't get recruited, just walk on.
Just walk on.
Just because you didn't get recruited doesn't mean you're not a good player.
He was He was not recruited, even though, and here's another opportunity here. This is Alex Martinez. Step in. Outside. Johnson has it deflected, and Charlotte will get a late corner.
That's a good block.
David Estrada was not recruited, even though his senior year in high school, he had 66 goals, including 11 in 1 game.
I can tell you, Jeff, from experience with my time in the U.S. Watching soccer and being involved in the professional league and the youth league, sometimes coaches look at players and they say, he's a small player.
Dangerous ball comes in. Stephan has to get a right hand on it. Pittsburgh still trying to get it out, and Hollingsworth succeeds.
So back to my point, they look at players and they say, he's skillful, he's good, but he's not big enough. He's not strong enough, so he won't make an impact. Because soccer, back in the day, used to be big, strong, brawn, athletic players. But players like Estrada would not have had a chance.
No. And sometimes it might be the competition. You see stats that on paper appear to be lofty and perhaps inflated. But David Estrada very much turning out to be the real deal. I
always say that if Messi and Ronaldo had started their careers in the U.S., Ronaldo would have played, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Messi would not have found a team. Just because Ronaldo is a specimen of an athlete. Messi, 5'6", nobody looks at him and thinks,
superstar. Yeah. Of course, Ronaldo has an endless line of goals and just as many people on a speed dial available, but we'll let you figure out exactly what that constitutes. But the first half whistle has sounded, as you can see, in Charlotte with a dominant final 15 minutes of regulation. They lead the Pittsburgh Riverhounds 2-0. Goals from Brian Brown and David Estrada, the assist coming from Joel Johnson and Alex Martinez, as Independence taking another step toward a playoff berth. And not only that, another chance for a home playoff match in the first round of the playoffs. And who knows, there could be more. We'll see if Charlotte can hold on to this 2-goal advantage when we come back. First, we're going to pause for timeout. We'll have lots more coming your way here on YouTube. Jeff Hamlin with Patrick Daka reminding you again of the final score. It is Charlotte, or the halftime score, I should say. It's Charlotte leading Pittsburgh 2-0. Stay with us here on YouTube. Jeff Hamlin, Patrick Daca here with you tonight from Ramblewood Soccer Complex. Charlotte Independence leading the Pittsburgh Riverhounds 2-0 thanks to 2 goals from Brian Brown and another from David Estrada. And we have a scoring correction. I mentioned Alex Martinez, and in fact, Patrick talked about his difficulty trying to distinguish between Alex and Enzo. I had that problem myself there clearly on the last goal, because it was Enzo Martinez who got the assist on the beautiful goal by David Estrada that was headed. So it was Enzo doing the dirty work once again, and the leading scorer on this Independence team comes back for yet another goal, assist rather. And there you see the first half statistics. And I would wager, Patrick, that the final 5 shots on net, those shots came probably in the final 17, 18 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, we talked about Charlotte Independence did not take a shot until the 34th minute.
That's right.
That was their first shot. So 8 minutes, they shot. 12 minutes, they shot 8. They took 8 shots on goal.
That's right.
It was just a flurry of attacks.
And now we have 25 coming on here, or rather going off. That is Hollingsworth leaving the field for Pittsburgh, as we have a substitution to start this first half. And we'll see who has come in. I believe it's at the far end of the field here. We'll get that substitution in just a moment, but first Pittsburgh will move right to left. We have a final in from earlier. Rochester and the New York Red Bulls 2 tied today at 1, and that means for now Rochester and Charlotte are tied for 4th with 45 points. However, Charlotte does hold the tiebreaker because they have more wins. Rochester comes to Charlotte next Saturday night to wrap up the home slate for Independence. Right now, Charlotte is looking to get to 48 points. And they can do so if they hold on to this lead. As we're in the 46th minute here. And we see Kevin Carr coming out, comprising that front line with Herzog and Siobhan Walsh, the rookie who made such an instant sensation upon his signing, the USL PDL Golden Boot winner when he played for the Ocean City Nor'easters during the summer, scoring 14 goals in 14 games, but he struggled tonight to get the ball. As Charlotte has 3 of its 4 regular back line players, along with Drew Marcus Davidson, the defensive midfielder, who just sends that ball away to Bilal Duckett. Here's Joel Johnson attacking on the right end. And then down goes Martinez.
And the referee quickly grabs his pocket there, goes into his pocket for a yellow card.
That one will be issued on Zach Boggs, which will be his first booking of the year. Probably have as many kids in the stands tonight as we've seen all year here, Patrick. That's a great sign.
It's a great sign. When you play well, kids will come out.
Fans will come out.
Fans will come out for sure.
They don't mind taking a night away from college football. You pull anything more to the head. And Charlotte trying to get an elusive professional soccer championship. Lewis Hilton comes up as Enzo Martinez brushes himself off. Charlotte, with Enzo Martinez getting that assist, he now has 5 on the season, and that puts him at 23 points, and that leads the team. Hilton will supply it. He was looking for Davidson to the far end. That was nodded away by Green. Now up the field, Walsh, but again, he's unable to get anything on that.
Enzo Martinez has to be the most fouled player in the league. If there were stats kept on it, I would like to see that.
That would be wonderful to go back and trace that, because Enzo does hit the turf an awful lot. And part of that comes from skill, and part of that comes from body language as well, as an interception is made.
Yeah, coaches look at.
Ball comes in at an odd angle, and Berner had to supply a little bit of pressure to that one, and it winds up being the first corner of the night.
It was a tricky one. I don't think Berner knew exactly what was going on there, but he stuck his foot out near post. just nudge the ball up.
That ball came in from 34. That is Christian Martinez, who is the substitute for Marshall Hollingsworth. So Christian Martinez now putting in the corner. That one goes off the head of Kalungi and out of play, and Pittsburgh will get to do it once again. So Christian Martinez, another loanee by the Columbus Crew to Pittsburgh, that play at a beautiful new stadium. Ball in the box is free at the 6, and it's headed out of danger by Davidson. Now put back in, back to the net. Kerr sent that one away, but it trickles wide. They play in Highmark Stadium just off the Monongahela River. And it is as beautiful a setting for soccer as you'll find, and they built that with the hopes of trying to attract MLS attention. Right now, it seats about 3,000, but it can be expanded to seat over 15,000 if need be. And of course, the hope in the Steel City is one day they want that to be the case.
And Charlotte are hoping the same as well, as they renovate the Memorial Stadium into a 25,000 seater stadium.
Here's Brown looking ahead. Hilton's inside the box. Hilton can't make the turn. Estrada will try to supply something better. And Steffen comes out, stumbles over Brown. Again, keep your eye out on Brian Brown and Bilal Duckett during this second half, because they are both on yellow card watch, and Charlotte has a critical game on Wednesday lurking against the Richmond Kickers.
And one of the things I was going to talk about earlier in the game was how much.
Got Walsh making a takeaway here as he stripped Davison of the ball. Here's Walsh. That was deflected out by Duckett. We'll have a third Pittsburgh corner.
His eyes got wide there before he took the shot. Created a little bit of space for himself with a strong running, pushed defenders off, but the shot was not good enough. Well, I was talking about how much Charlotte would have missed Caleb Calvert in terms of aerial duels in the attacking third. But we got 2 goals from Brown Bryan and one from Estrada on headers.
That's right. And keep in mind, Caleb, and he was called up to MLS, and he entered MLS play shortly after Charlotte put up 4 against Orlando City B. Entered his first game against Real Salt Lake, and the thinking was that might affect Charlotte's goal power, but in fact it's done just the opposite. Charlotte's getting more contributions now from Enzo Martinez, from Brian Brown.
As a coach, that's a problem you want to have. I want to have guys coming in and taking responsibility and scoring goals. But then, so when Caleb comes back, then he's going to have to fight for his spot back on the team again.
That's right. Joel Johnson to Brian Brown. And Charlotte, again, is having to do it with spare parts missing, or regular parts missing, along its back line. This man, Greenspan, was just signed to the squad a week ago. In his second night in town, he had to come in as a reserve. Greenspan was loaned to Charlotte by Colorado. Greenspan made his MLS debut with the Colorado Rapids when they went up against Colorado Springs last year in the U.S. Open Cup. Young man from Navy who is still taking care of his obligations to the Naval Academy while competing professionally in soccer, and going against his former college coach tonight, and Dave Brandt. Dave Brandt had a successful stint in Annapolis, and here's a shot that misses wide. Martinez looking to put something on net. Brandt was offered the opportunity to come to Pittsburgh, and I guess after over 300 wins at the college level, you just lurk for something new, and that's exactly what he has done here. Taking on the challenge of trying to live Pittsburgh back. And this year he was dealt a tough hand as Pittsburgh again went winless in its first 7. But they played very well as of late coming into this game, where Charlotte has just played very, very well, not only in this game, but really hitting all cylinders more than at any point in this season.
You take on a team that's lacking in confidence because of the results.
Here's Carr. Oh, a fine play by Berner. Once again, Kevin Carr, as he is wont to do, asking some questions, but Berner had the answer. Charlotte getting goals from Brian Brown. That one came in the 37th minute. Brown looking for the ball here. That one chipped away by Hunt. Approaching is Martinez. Now Davidson comes in. June Marcus Davidson. Nicely done. Now the header put forward and in. What a finish by David Estrada.
And that was as deliberate as you want it to be, because he saw defenders in the box and just lobbed that ball over the top to the back post. Excellent play.
And it all started with a run by June Marcus Davidson. Stefan had to come out of net, and the ball just lopped it over to David Estrada, who put it in. It was a slow header. You could have timed that with a sundial, but it crossed the line and got it in the net. And David Estrada winds up with the brace, his 6th of the season.
Interesting stats here. 3 goals, 3 headers, 2 from the shortest man on the field.
So David Estrada, his 6th of the season. That will go unassisted. And Independence.
That is. June Marcus goes in for breakaway.
Oh.
David Estrada just waits in there. But it was surprising to me, nobody went to challenge.
And now Martinez finds Estrada once again. And that's going to lead to a corner.
Yeah, nobody went to challenge David Estrada as he sized up his opportunity and headed ball into the net. Everybody ran into the goal.
So David Estrada winds up scoring. Boy, June, take your hat off to him. I mean, he made about a 50-yard run there.
I always tell my kids that you give any player that much time, he will take a touch, smoke a cigar before he decides to finish.
Hilton with the corner, and Davidson got ahead on that, keeping it in play. Martinez, another cross. And that time, it was Bilal Duckett getting a rare opportunity. Joel Johnson tripped up a Riverhound going up the field. That was Herzog who hit the turf, and head coach Dave Brandt was none too happy about that. 3-0 the score. Far in. This is Carr, denied by Duckett. Sent out by Hilton.
Yeah, Brown is coming from an offside position. He's not going to chase that.
You can get in the game through the USL social media channels. Follow the USL on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube for news, live game updates, and video highlights from all across the league. Martinez out. Pittsburgh with the throw. Lebo Moloto will do the honors.
I have to teach you how to say his name properly. His first name is Lebo.
Lebo Moloto. Lebo Moloto.
It's like a V but a B.
Okay.
It's like Lebo Moloto.
And now Boggs that time, so Levo Moloto.
Yes.
And Boggs wound up sending one over the crossbar. We'd like to thank the following sponsors for their support of Charlotte Independent Soccer: Royal Oral and Facial Surgery, Spirit Communications, Skyview Dentistry, the U.S. National Whitewater Center, and Dick's Sporting Goods. Sponsors, we thank you. So Charlotte, with 3 goals in this one, that comes after getting 3 against FC Cincinnati, 4 against Orlando City B, and 5 on Sunday. We told you that the pace has been quite rapid when it comes to Charlotte scoring as of late, even while losing Caleb Calvert, who was called up by the Colorado Rapids last month. Racing back the other way goes number 30, and it's going to be out for a throw. Christian Martinez running up once again. He's been active since he was inserted into the game in the second half by head coach Dave Brandt. Levo Moloto.
Yes.
I have to say that right now. That's going to be a tick with me. I thought I was getting that right. I called 2 of Levo's games last year.
So in South African languages, a B is a
V.
Is a light V.
Okay.
It's like a mix of a B and a V in between.
Just like in Brazil, a name that starts with R is pronounced like it's H.
Yes.
From distance, that shot was blocked. Turned away by Kalunchi. Moloto. Hand-on-hand contact by Brown. Sent away looking for Walsh, but instead Johnson's going to retrieve it. Walsh gives way. This is Estrada, who has a new season high in goals tonight with 2. And it's going to be a throw in for Pittsburgh, and they're attacking third. Carr does the duties. Over it goes to Hunt. And now a trip up, and a foul will be whistled against Ryan Adelaide. Ryan Brown with some words for Patrick Schmidt, demanding a booking perhaps of Adelaide, who played not too far away from here in the PDL with the Carolina Dynamo, a team that plays in what they call the Triad of North Carolina, which is Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point. They're one of the regular names in professional soccer around these parts, at least on the PDL level.
Yeah. It's got a long history, Carolina Dynamo. They've been around for a while.
They played in high school stadiums in the 90s and played for championships. And they used to fill up some pretty nice capacity stadiums back when soccer wasn't exactly cool or embraced by the mainstream public.
Yeah, my first year with Charlotte Eagles, they beat us in the Open Cup in 2004. We went up there thinking it's a PDL team, so we're just going to run over them. And we came home with an egg in our face, 4-1.
That's an attractive place to go for a lot of the college players. And we've seen a lot of players who played at Wake Forest. We've got a couple from UNC on the field tonight. That's a vital place to go to during the summer. Although it's going to face some competition now that the Triangle's getting more teams. Of course, got Charlotte Independence here in the USL. And you've got Tobacco Road FC that started play in Durham this season, and the Carolina Railhawks U23 squad. And who knows what's brewing ahead for Independence in the future.
I think soccer is growing in the U.S. Is the excitement that it's bringing.
If you get a chance, you can understand how fast it's growing. First of all, take care of this. This is Walsh. Chevy will fire from distance.
Oof.
Just missed it wide to the right. Burner was caught leaning on the wrong foot. Pittsburgh appealing for a corner, but they won't get it.
Bilal raising his hand there, knowing that he gave away possession, and then they gave Walsh a little bit too much room to run at them. Once they get on top of the box, you want to stand your ground and start putting pressure on him. But the defenders kept backing off, and Walsh shaped up his shot, tried to place it in the far corner.
Walsh is not afraid to pull the trigger, and that's something we've seen.
Yeah, that's his third shot today. And the more chances they give him to take a shot, the more dangerous it's going to be.
Adelaide. Boggs makes a run at Johnson, who supplies it over to Bilal Duckett. I was talking about a book that was released last year called Rock and Roll Soccer that was about the North American Soccer League of the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s, and the rise and fall of that league. And it's funny looking back on it now. Back then, the league was putting teams where soccer wasn't wanted. Now it's just the opposite.
Yeah.
Fans want the sport, but MLS doesn't have enough franchises to give out. Interesting how the former keyboardist for Yes, Rick Wakeman, owned a team in Philadelphia, of all places, which lost so much money he was required to do some extra touring with Yes.
When I moved to the U.S., I say that the kids that we were coaching, I moved in 2000. I thought that the kids that we were coaching and the number of kids that were joining the game will force either the corporate world or their parents, who are leaders in the corporate world, to start putting money into soccer. Either that, or they themselves, when they get into the corporate world, they will put more money into soccer and make this a great soccer nation. And it's starting to happen now.
Absolutely. It's the demographics that are coming into this country, as well as those who have grown up with soccer. And the fine teachers such as yourself, Patrick.
You're very generous.
I'm only telling the truth. Hilton lines up colliding with a Riverhound. As Adelaide, who's slow to get up. And perhaps in retaliatory fashion, we've got a foul to the far end of the field.
Yeah, Pittsburgh can remonstrate all they want there, but that's always shove in the back. Kalunji is probably dealing with some cramp as well.
Christian Martinez whistled for that one. And with that, Stephen Akai is going to come in. Another man who has spent quite a bit of time, and a former Charlotte Eagle, in fact. In fact, this is a former teammate of yours.
A nice guy, and a really nice guy. He works hard, plays really well, is very skillful, is very attacking-minded as well. So excited to see him getting on the field.
played 24 games with the Charlotte Eagles, and Adelaide is going to come off the field. Played 24 games in 2013, scored 4 goals, played with the Orange County Blues in 2014. Speaking of the Blues, it was announced this week that they have new ownership that will keep the team where it is in Southern California. Now Hilton supplies the cross on the free kick, and it goes untouched out of play. Stephen Okayam, native of Ghana, but he wound up winning a national championship in the NAIA level with Mobile in Alabama. He was the NAIA Player of the Year, National Player of the Year in 2012, and a 3-time All-American at that level. An errant goal kick by Steffens will send the ball Charlotte's way. Fans curated craft beer delivered to your doorstep only a click away. Visit brewpublic.com to learn more and sign up. Brew Public, ding dong, beer. In the 65th minute, Independence with 2 goals in the first half. Brian Brown in the 37th minute, assisted by Joel Johnson, his first assist of the season. Brown scored his 8th. The last 2 goals in the game have come from David Estrada, more to the point, the head of David Estrada.
That's right. We've seen 3 beautiful headers today, and 2 of them from David Estrada. I just can't get over the fact that he's one of the smallest guys on the field, and is putting headers on.
Look at that Charlotte's passing. This is Enzo. Chase to the far end of the field.
He took his leg out there.
Yep. That was 34 Christian Martinez hitting the deck, and he drew the foul. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow @Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike soccer information.
What's interesting to me is that as we approach the 66th minute, none of the coaches have made any tactical changes. They've made Pittsburgh has made a couple of substitutions, but not really tactical changes in terms of their system and their approach. They're just going to go with the 4-4-2 formation.
We're about to have our 3rd substitution for Pittsburgh tonight, and here's another unique case. Nick Thompson is going to come into the game. Now, this is a man who spent 1 professional season with the Carolina Railhawks. He's going to come in here as Levo Moloto will leave the game. And then after that professional season, he ventured into coaching. He was actually an assistant under Dave Brandt and was the head soccer and golf coach at Eastern Nazarene Athletics in Quincy, Massachusetts.
Can teach me something about golf.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know nothing about golf.
As far as what golf coaches do, I heard from Bones McKinney, who is a famous basketball name in the state. He was also the head basketball coach at Wake, but he also was the coach at golf at Wake. And he was asked, what do you do as a golf coach? He says, well, I drive my team to the golf course in a van. I say, y'all do good, and that's about it. And based on what I've heard from other golf coaches, that's about what they do. And you got to keep in mind, back when Bones McKinney was coaching, that's about the time Arnold Palmer was over at Wake Forest. So I don't know how much coaching Arnold Palmer really needed.
If they did that to me, I wouldn't even know where to start. I need to know how to hold that golf stick first, the club.
Yeah. Perhaps my brother can help you out in that regard. Corey Herzog, this is Nick Thompson. Thompson was also an assistant coach with the women's soccer team, and then when his former head coach, Dave Brandt, became the head coach at Pittsburgh, he called up Nick and said, would you be interested in playing again? Nick said, sure, and sure enough, here he is.
It's great to see these professionals playing. I know that Enzo Martinez, the Martinez brothers, Enzo and Alex, they are heavily involved with discoveries out in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
That's right.
Coach there, the coach youth. So it's great that they can share their wealth of knowledge with the youngsters.
And of course, Jorge Herrera has just started high school soccer season.
With Charlotte Christian High School.
That's right. He's a regular high school coach there, and Jorge had the game-winning goal just a week ago against Orlando City, or rather against FC Cincinnati. 3-0. Charlotte putting the finishing touches on this one, on what will be their 9th home win of the season. To put that in perspective, as Akai comes forward, Stephen Akai looking for Walsh and nearly cleaned up, but nicely knocked out by Joel Johnson. Ball stays in play here, and it's going to be a corner. Joel Johnson prevented that opportunity for Herzog.
Yeah, Joseph Greenspan did enough just to knock Chevanov off his stride there, but then Joey Johnson came in and cleaned up. But the game is getting too stretched now for Charlotte in midfield.
Carr supplies the cross on the corner, and that is headed out by Hunt.
There are too many gaps. The gaps in midfield is getting too stretched. Lewis Hamilton and Marquez need to start and shorten up the midfield spaces a little bit and be a little bit more tighter when they play. They're enjoying the possession, but sometimes when you possess the ball a lot and you have a lot of it, you start getting in the mindset of attacking and going forward. The more you attack, the more gaps you create in the middle, and that's what Pittsburgh is finding out. They have a guy in Okai right now that's very good in finding pockets of spaces in midfield.
And can pass in those gaps.
And we saw that in that through ball there.
We thought that things couldn't have been much better offensively for Charlotte back when spring turned into summer, and Charlotte won 4 in a row. They scored 3 against Charleston, 3 against Richmond, beat the New York Red Bulls, and scored against Montreal here to win 1-0. But you got to keep in mind, during that 4-game winning streak, there are 9 goals scored. Now Charlotte, counting this game, has had 11 in its last 3 in what's going to be a 3-game winning streak, barring a Pittsburgh rally. And don't forget the Orlando City B game, where they had 4 goals. Sandwiched between all that was that 1-0 loss to Charleston.
Yeah.
Which had a controversial finish where Jan Ekra appeared to have scored, but the ball hit the bottom of the crossbar, went over the goal line. Clearly it did, about 2 feet over the goal line, but popped right out, and referee didn't see that, and it was ruled no goal. And of course, at least here in Charlotte, there's no goal line technology. At Red Bull Stadium, however, in Harrison, New Jersey, there is, but that's another story.
We'll get there. I don't know when, but we will.
I think all levels are going to have that before very much longer, actually. It's only a matter of time, and certainly in the Premier League with all the technology they have. Here's Boggs. Kevin Carr on the left of the wing. Herzog. Calling forward to the far end of the field. This is Christian Martinez. Kalonji pounces on him, forces turnover, and Estrada clears it halfway up the field. Yeah,
difficult guy to try and take on one-on-one. Kalonji is very, very adept in his skill as a defender.
This is Henry's first game since that Charleston loss. He's missed the last 2. He had a little tangle up with Patrick Slogic in trying to clear a ball, and Henry's right foot was injured. Brown, offside is called against Charlotte. Ortho Carolina proud to be the presenting sponsor and the official team physician of Charlotte Independence. Ortho Carolina, you improved. Duckett will head that one away. This is Okai. Carr from distance.
Yeah, it just looks to me Charlotte is just getting a little tired now. Maybe an injection of fresh legs will do well. I see Jorge Herrera getting ready on the bench.
And Jorge has reported to the 4th official tonight, and he'll be coming in momentarily. Jorge notched his 3rd game winner in that win over FC Cincinnati. As things stand right now, Brian Brown is going to get the game winner, which would be his 2nd. David Estrada provides some pressure. And of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that Enzo Martinez was the USL Player of the Week after scoring that brace against FC Cincinnati. He has an assist tonight. Brown takes the diagonal pass, but another offside is called.
There's a little ego on his run. They went in too early.
And now Enzo is going to exit the proceedings. 3 Jacks are waiting at the 4th officials table. Jorge Herrera, Jan Ekra, and we'll see Paul Clowes report in as well. We know that Enzo is going to leave. Alex Martinez is also going to leave. So that means we'll only have 1 Martinez out on the field, whereas we've had 3 so far here in the second half. And Lewis Hilton will also walk off the field.
I'm not sure he knows that. Oh, there he goes.
Yep. So
he's been holding his left wrist for a while now, Lewis. I don't know if something happened. I know it's bandaged, but it seems like either he fell on it or something happened.
Enzo will leave this game now with a 3-game scoring streak. He had a 4-game scoring streak from April 22nd to May 7th. That was during that 4-game winning streak for Charlotte that ended at the hands of Orlando City B on Memorial Day weekend. So Enzo, the leading scorer on the team, at work once again. Now aiming to the far corner. That's Herzog, who missed the far post wide. Counting this one down, and Charlotte, keep in mind, they only won 10 games all of last season. They were 10-8-10. This will be their 14th win, and it'll be their 9th home victory with still one more to go next Saturday night against Rochester. Pittsburgh pressing a little bit more here on orders of head coach Dave Brandt. We talked about the Riverhounds' difficulty in putting the ball in the net. 30 goals. They've also now given up 47. That's tied for 24th in the league. Long run by Jan Ekra, shut down very nicely by Campbell. That allows Stefan to pick it up.
Yeah, 2 of the changes by Independence are like for like, midfielders for midfielders. Then you put in Yanni Ekra, who's more of a box-to-box midfielder, but he's playing way more on the left side. Wonder if that's a more tactical decision to stop play going on the left side, because Pittsburgh has been attacking, getting a lot of success on that left side.
Campbell jostling with Brown. Now to the far end in the net, and it missed on the outside.
And Jorge was waiting for it.
Yep. Jorge was all set to cash in. Brown really was engaged in a tugging contest with Sergio Campbell the final 30 yards up the field there. And ultimately leads to a goal kick. Well, you can keep up to date with the USL all season long by visiting the new USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL. 3-0, 2 goals from David Estrada. David appears to be on his way to making the USL Team of the Week once again. He was a part of the USL Team of the Week in Week 2 when Charlotte wound up defeating Harrisburg City for its first win of the season. And now, reporting to the 4th officials table, is the man who scored the first goal in Charlotte Independence history. Jack Thompson is about to report in as a member of the Riverhounds. He left Charlotte after 1 season, went back to his home in Cleveland, got married, and joined Pittsburgh at mid-year. Great to see Jack once again. And Jack not only had the first goal against the Charleston Battery, but he had maybe the best goal of the season last year here in the final home game. Here's Herrera. Jorge going to work. Sends it away. Ekra. Touch to Klaus. And Charlotte just wanting to maintain touches. They've got enough goals on the board here. Great to see Jack once again playing soccer. Estrada. Drew Marcus Davidson sent it along, but that was denied by Okai. Now Hunt will send it up the field to Nick Thompson. Walsh makes a run. Greenspan makes a play for him, but Bilal Duckett will make hand-on-hand contact.
It's a lot of contact going on.
Again, Bilal playing with 4 yellow cards. Okai. Charlotte has to stay disciplined here. Don't want anything foolish here when you've got one wrapped up and a big game looming. This is Martinez, and he whistled it wide of the crossbar.
Did all the hard work there except the final pass. Everything else was good. Held up play, held up his defenders, got past him, created a little bit of room to put a cross in, but then the final delivery was just a little disappointing.
So this will be the 4th substitution here for Pittsburgh. It's going to be Jack Thompson coming on. And coming off the field is going to be Walsh, who looks a little disappointed because after scoring the game winner in only his second professional game, which is remarkable, and the first USL game he ever started. Tonight he just really pressed at times and was unable to get on track.
It was a difficult game for him. Charlotte possessed the ball more. So the few times that he had looks on goal, it was things that he was trying to create on his own versus getting on the end of services. So that makes it very difficult for a striker up top to play or to be impactful.
Went up against Bilal Duckett in several 1v1 situations. Through ball here, Martinez. Oh, Berner denied it.
Yeah, the ref had his flag up for offside already.
So John wound up stopping one that was going to be blown back already for an offside. That's the third offside tonight against the Riverhounds. Don't forget, we'll have our Wells Fargo game recap, including the Wells Fargo save of the game. John Berner did have 3 saves in the first half, hasn't faced as much pressure here in the second half. Estrada, who tucked this one away with one of the more unique finishers you'll see, capturing a rebound that just faded into the air, and Estrada just nodded it ahead, and it softly crested over the goal line and into the net.
Yeah, that's that confidence. Once you start putting goals away, that confidence that, you know, I got this. You score a few goals, you start feeling like anything you touch goes into
it's
the
going to
net.
go in,
Yes.
yeah. Well, it's going to be an interesting matchup on Wednesday night when Charlotte takes on Richmond. It's a rivalry stemming back to, of course, when Patrick played with the Charlotte Eagles, and Richmond is among the oldest, in fact, tied with Charleston for the oldest American professional soccer franchise that's still going.
Yeah,
they started 2 years before MLS was even in operation.
Playing against Kalunji.
Yep. Henry used to play with Richmond.
Richmond, yes.
Now he's out here as a Jack. And indeed, it's going to be a lot on the line coming up. If Charlotte wins this one, they'll be, in fact, they have this one in the bag, so they'll be at 48 points after this one tonight. Richmond, the best they can do is draw within 1. They are playing right now against Louisville City. Long here, down the side, and out of play. Martinez couldn't keep up with it. Trying to get a score right now from Richmond.
Charlotte, I know it's 10 minutes, 11 minutes to go with, I mean, injury time and edit time and everything. But they need to manage the game now. They need to keep possession a little bit. Just be a little bit more deliberate about how the proceedings go, dictate the tempo of the game. Defensively, they might need to drop off a little bit, let Pittsburgh have possession in their half, wait for them to come to them, and then once they get the possession, just keep the ball.
Rely on the back line, too.
Yes.
17 has come in for Pittsburgh. He'll be the final substitute.
So right now, a lot of stray passes, a lot of passes going astray. Just keep the ball, just secure it, and don't give away anything easy or anything silly.
Final substitute of the night for the Riverhounds is going to be the presence of number 17. That's going to be Drew Russell coming in. And exiting the field will be Michael Green. Another player who had a quiet night. Louisville City leading Richmond right now 1-0. They're in the 51st minute. And that is good news for Charlotte, because if that result stands, that means the best that Richmond can do, even if they win on Wednesday night, is draw within 1 point of Charlotte in the standings. Cross will go wide of Jack Thompson and out of play.
Yeah, that's one of the major disappointments for Pittsburgh. I think once they get in the good areas to put services in the box, the services have not been of quality.
Yeah. They've been wide at times, and it's a disappointment for a team that wound up making the USL playoffs last season. Again, they wound up losing to the New York Red Bulls in the opening round.
Yeah, you lose that many games at the beginning of the season. It plays on your mental. It plays on your confidence. Just digging out of that hole is very difficult.
Nick Thompson regained the ball and then promptly lost it. Jan Ekra away to Brian Brown. And here comes Joel Johnson, who earned his first assist of the season tonight. Davidson, Estrada. There's never been a hat trick in Charlotte history. Davey can get one. Johnson on the overlap to the right. Crosses in. No one on the other end of it. Ekra engages with a duel and the ball goes out. Charlotte will have a throw.
Yeah, that's when you need Caleb Calvert, because he will attack anything and everything in the box.
And he has the height to make anything dangerous as well. That's one thing that Charlotte will miss as the season winds to a close. And the gathering that we had here tonight at Ramblewood Soccer Complex begins to head to the exits with this one well in hand. Charlotte getting 2 in the first half, in the final 10 minutes of the half, in the 37th minute from Brian Brown, and then in the 45th from David Estrada. And then Estrada added another one here, a pretty header that went in the second half. Foul called on Pittsburgh. Far end of the field on Russell, who's in his second season with the Riverhounds. Jack Thompson in there, played with Southwest Virginia in the Premier Development League and joined Charlotte last season. He was a rookie. He's out of Messiah College. He has a connection in that regard with Dave Brandt, who of course coached there. And Charlotte is going to put in a couple players. We're going to see Norberto Ochoa, who scored his first goal this season, and another man who scored his first goal this season on Sunday, Ali Hassan. Ekra, good play by Davidson to keep that counter from developing. Johnson to the right. Estrada with a cross in, and Ekra got too much on that. In the 85th minute, that's going to lead to Hassan, and Ochoa coming in. June Marcus Davidson will sit down.
It's done well, June Marcus, as always. Just sitting in the seams and protects the center backs.
June is over 2,000 minutes on the year, and Brian Brown will sit down after getting the game-winning goal tonight. His 8th of the season.
He's another one that has worked his tail up.
He played with Harborview of the Jamaican Premier League, and Norberto Ochoa comes on now. And here comes Ali Hassan, the loanee from the Carolina Railhawks. Young man who had a hat trick against Puerto Rico for his first professional team, Fort Lauderdale, in the North American Soccer League. And less than a month later, he had another hat trick in the U.S. Open Cup against the Fresno Fuego. That's another PDL team. Those PDL squads had some pretty creative nicknames. West Virginia Chaos, the Des Moines Menace, Fresno Fuego, Reading United. That's not unique, but just interesting in its own way.
Yeah, Cascade Surge.
Yep.
Out in Oregon.
The Cascade Surge. That's that's another unique. Did you play for that one?
I played for them.
Oh, okay.
Yes, when I was in college.
All right. That's soccer country right there, as you know. Chip in by Herzog. Nick Thompson runs it down in front. Oh, what a save there. Rebound comes in. Thompson tries to get the goal and it's denied. A fantastic save by John Berner.
Are you talking about saves of the day?
Oh,
saves of the game.
That's going to be the Wells Fargo save of the game. Bet on it. What a play by John Berner to turn back Nick Thompson at point blank range. Corner comes in. That's headed away by Greenspan. Now up the field, Estrada.
Oh.
Klaus took it away, coming way out of net. Steffens puts it in the fourth official's table. He was 50 yards away from the net that time. Pittsburgh had almost everyone up front, and Steffens, as always, representing the last line of defense, and the last line had to make a full ahead charge to keep from scoring. Estrada engages in a duel with Boggs in the 88th minute. Novant Health, the official health care provider of Charlotte Independence, Novant Health, improving the health of our community one person at a time. 3-0 Charlotte has maintained the lead, and they will win its 3rd consecutive game. And Charlotte now will have gone 9 out of its last 10 without a loss. That's how you wind up getting playoff positioning. Ali Hassan is in there. Coca-Cola is the official soft drink of Charlotte Independence. Coca-Cola, experience the world of ah. Herrera in front of the bench as this one winds down. Hassan. Way it goes. Ekra trying to find his footing. That one blocked away. Looked like the goalkeeper had already started to dive to the left, but the ball was headed to the right. He was ready to make a save as spectacular as Burners, it appeared.
He was ready for it.
So Charlotte will have a corner here.
Yeah, Hassan has come in and done well in terms of keeping possession and getting the ball moving up front, linking up with midfielders.
And Charlotte will head into its match Wednesday with Richmond, undeniably playing its best soccer of the season. We thought that maybe this team had peaked too early when they won 4 in a row, but then came a lull at the beginning of the summer, which featured home losses to Bethlehem Steel and the Wilmington Hammerheads. But Charlotte has put that in the rearview mirror, and this team, even though they don't have all of its parts out there right now, playing as well as ever, as Estrada will be hit with a foul and Estrada hit with a yellow. That is the first time this year that David has been booked. Good time to get it in the 27th game of the season.
Yeah, and you score 2 goals off our header. Why not?
3 minutes of added time, and this one will be in the books. Another happy night for Independence.
Unless something extraordinary happens, that they score 3 goals in 3 minutes.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because that's exactly what Pittsburgh did last year.
Yeah, things like this happen a lot.
Against Harrisburg City, which is their rival for the Keystone Derby. Had one of the wildest comebacks you will ever see. They were down 2 and they scored 3 goals in the final 10 minutes to wind up winning that game. That was over in the Steel City. Ochoa, Hassan looking for Ochoa again. Instead, Herrera!
That man again. Oh, Jorge.
Once you count him out, he just comes back to bite you again. Jorge Herrera. The assist will go to Ochoa for Jorge, his 7th of the year.
His return on goals is unbelievable.
Check that. It's going to be Hassan taking the assist, and Jorge gets his 7th of the year. And a man who represents Charlotte soccer so well, number 10, Jorge Herrera, puts the exclamation point on this one. Ali Hassan will take the assist, and Charlotte gets 4 on the board. And Independence reaches that 4-goal mark once again. Cross comes in. John Brunner trying to preserve the shutout. Charlotte has 5 clean sheets this season. There'll be a goal kick here, and it looks like a 6th will be likely. So Jorge Herrera, you can talk at length about what Jorge means to this town. We talk about it all the time, but even though he's not a starter as much anymore, Jorge tonight playing his 22nd game, and he hasn't started all that many, but boy, oh boy, is he still valuable to this squad.
Yeah, I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, and he told me, listen, I know my role. Obviously, I want to play more, but I know my role. When I come on the field, I know what I need to do. He says the advantage of me coming off the bench is that I'm the freshest player they have, because everybody else has played over 1,500 minutes, and I'm still below 1,000. So his legs is feeling good about himself.
Yeah. Coming into this game, Jorge had 951 minutes, and he's not going to pass 1,000 with this one, but even though he's going, in fact, Jorge will celebrate his 36th birthday tomorrow. So that was a birthday gift, but Jorge really created that on his own, and that is the final whistle. Happy birthday, Jorge Herrera. Jorge hugs his former teammate Stephen Akai as the final whistle sounds, and Charlotte Independence, in resounding fashion, claims its 14th win of the season, and they are now in 3rd place in the Eastern Conference as they down the Pittsburgh Riverhounds tonight 4-0. And Charlotte now will head to Richmond for a critical Wednesday matchup with a golden opportunity to secure a home playoff game in the first round of the upcoming USL playoffs.
What a story for Charlotte. They're not just winning games, but they're making a statement with the number of goals they're putting in and how well they're defending as well. So scoring 4 goals on the back of a 5-goal game. Before that, it was a 3-goal game. So it's a statement going into the playoffs saying, we're here, we mean business. We want this championship too.
Absolutely. And Charlotte is playing just sensational right now. And we'll see if this carries over as we have 2 weeks remaining in the regular season. Charlotte will finish up the regular season 2 weeks from tonight at Slugger Field against Louisville City. Here tonight, though, Independence gets the win over Pittsburgh, and they clear another clean sheet, their 6th of the year. John Berner has 5 of them. We'll come back for the Wells Fargo game recap. We'll have our Wells Fargo save of the game coming up in just a moment as you're watching Charlotte Independent Soccer. Back with you here tonight from Ramblewood Soccer Complex. Charlotte Independence wins 4-0 over the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, a convincing victory to put it mildly. Welcome to the Wells Fargo game recap presented by Wells Fargo, and we'll have a look at our Wells Fargo save of the game. It came late in the contest. Honestly, it came well after the contest had been decided, but John Berner still made a great play to preserve the clean sheet. Nick Thompson with a quality cross that was put in. Opportunity right in front of the net by Jack Thompson, but it was denied, and John Berner tipped it away. 2 great opportunities, and this, the final goal of the game. Ali Hassan sends it to Jorge Herrera, and Jorge winds up with the 4th goal of the night, his 7th of the year. One day before Jorge is set to turn 36 years old, and Jorge has a loving family. In fact, Jorge, just before the Toronto game this year, had a birthday party for his daughters. I'd imagine his wife and daughters have quite a birthday celebration set for him tomorrow.
I'm sure. It was Jorge scoring the goal was great, but also for me it was Hassan getting the assist, because it came in, did very well, connected passes, it was played very simple, and then slotted Jorge in for that goal. Brilliant. But I'm happy for Jorge.
No doubt. Happy for a lot of these Charlotte players here tonight as they wind up winning once again. And Charlotte now in 3rd place in the Eastern Conference at 48 points. Other games going on right now around the league. There's good news and bad news for Charlotte. First of all, Louisville City is ahead of Richmond. Now, that's bad news in the sense that Charlotte has a very slim chance now of catching Louisville City, even though they won here tonight. If Louisville City holds on to that 2-0 lead that they have against Richmond right now, that will put them at 56 points. Charlotte will be at 48. So again, their chances of getting caught up, because Charlotte has 3 games remaining, and the best they can do is get 9 points. So all Louisville City would need to do is have one more point and they would secure second place. However, it's good news because Charlotte now will distance itself further from Richmond and get another step toward claiming a home playoff game. If Richmond winds up losing, that will keep them at 44 points. Charlotte will be at 48. And again, they will be in third place depending on what happens this weekend with FC Cincinnati. Patrick, great to see you once again, sir, and hopefully I'll see you again next week for Rochester and one more time for the playoffs as well.
Enjoyed it. Yes, enjoyed it really well. Great to see you again.
It was great to see you. David Estrada scores 2. Brian Brown gets the game winner, and Jorge Herrera gets a birthday goal for insurance. A happy night at Ramblewood Soccer Complex. Charlotte Independence earns victory number 14 on the season, and its 9th of the year here at Ramblewood as they down the Pittsburgh Riverhounds 4-0. Good night from the Queen City.